Welcome back. U.S. Immigration Reform Now. Talking with immigration lawyer Andy Semotiuk from Pace Law Firm, pacelawfirm.com. Andy, last night, State of the Union address from President Obama. Immigration comes up. People probably wondering what's going on, how are things going to change, what are the policy decision makers, what are they doing? Give us, if you can, I know it's a big subject, but a brief outline of where we stand.
Sure. Okay, well, it appears that in Congress in the United States, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the Republicans and the Democrats appear to have reached some agreement on the key principles for immigration reform in the United States. Among them are that the immigration package that they're going to be discussing in Congress should include illegal immigrants, and there's about 11 or 12 million of them in the United States. They should have to go through a security check to make sure that they're not criminals. And then there's a pathway to citizenship, which includes a variety of steps, among them things like getting in line, but at the back of the line. So anybody who's in the process right now would have to go forward before these people would go. But nonetheless, being in line and getting some sort of a qualified temporary status in the United States so they're not illegal. But along the way, they would have to learn English, have to learn some civics questions related to, what the United States is and as a democracy and things like that, similar to what you do in citizenship.
Okay.
And some other features along those lines.
What are the stopgaps right now? I mean, why don't they just sit down and say, okay, this is the way it's going to be, and tomorrow they can pass a law? Where are they not meeting?
Okay. One of the key factors to the agreement has been the Republican insistence that they plug the holes in the immigration system so that illegal immigrants stop coming to the United States. That's a big issue. The whole debate could fall apart over plugging holes.
Okay.
Another is things like the onerous length of time that it will take for illegals to actually arrive at U.S. citizenship. Like, the idea is that it shouldn't take the rest of their life to become a U.S. citizen. And the way the debate is forming, the requirements that are being put forward may be so onerous that they may be unrealistic on the illegal immigrant in the United States.
Now, what about the people that say, I don't really care about citizenship. They just want to stay in the United States so that they can continue to work?
Well, one of the funny things about that is there's some parts of the debate, some people, say Republican side, are saying, well, these guys have to go back home and then come back in.
Okay.
That's a non-starter for these people who are, 12 million people in the United States. They're not going to go back home and then come back into the United States. So that's an issue that has to be resolved. I think most people in the United States who are so-called undocumented aliens don't necessarily want U.S. citizenship right away. I mean, that's more politically advantageous, let's say, for the Democrats who could see them as voters,
Right.
than it is necessarily for the undocumented alien who really wants to be left alone in peace and legally in the United States so he can work and raise his family.
All right.
So I think that's where we are on that score.
So what are you proposing to do now? I mean, there are illegal aliens in the United States. It looks like there's some stuff on the horizon that they might be able to stay in the United States legally. What can you do to help some of these people?
Okay, I've prepared a program to help these illegal immigrants to get ready, to get organized for the day when that reform package goes through and is legislated into law. In preparing for that, I propose to collect information about them in terms of how they got to the United States, their background, etc., and to pull together copies of all the relevant documents that they're going to need based on my experience and the experience of other immigration lawyers with former reform packages that have gone through Congress, former amnesty programs, and so on. So there is something we can do now, today, in order to prepare for that day when the reform package is approved, whether it's in 3 months, 5 months, a year, or even if it's 5 years from now. I think it's worthwhile to get organized. It's always better to be organized than not organized. And in the case of someone who is undocumented, I am preparing and have prepared a program to help them, a very cheap program. It's only $300 per applicant. And the idea is we will get their story, the immigrant story, right, and their documents in place. So that's something we can do for someone who's looking to get ready.
I know that's That would be very helpful because I know that when the day comes, when the announcement is made that this is the way it's going to be, whatever the policy is, the floodgates are going to open.
Yes.
And if you're sitting there without your documents lined up and without your story straight, you
Right.
might as well be at the back of the line.
Correct.
Basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think there's advantage. There's an advantage there to be ready, and so I'm proposing to help people get ready for that moment.
Excellent. Contact details. How can they get a hold of you and send all
Well,
the stuff in?
They can email me at andy@myworkvisa.com, and I can provide all the information they're going to need. And of course, they can contact Pace Law Firm where we are and call us at the
Number you
the
see on the
regular
screen.
number. Yeah.
I'll throw the number on the website you see on the screen. You can look down there. You can contact Andy, as he says, at Andy@myworkvisa.com. And we're going to be doing several updates
Yes.
as things go along with U.S. immigration reform.
Right.
And we're kind of like you out there. We don't exactly know what direction it's going to go, but we'll keep you apprised as best we can. Sound good?
Yes. Very
Okay,
good.
excellent. Andy@myworkvisa.com. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.